Welcome back into the studio, and today I am going to be doing the Mixed Media Menagerie for March. And so this is the list. I have not chosen my fluorescent colors or any of my paint colors as of yet. I like to do that as the mood strikes me, but I do have the supplies. I have a flower stencil, which is the TCW mini coneflowers, and I have my ephemera that I have picked out, some old pattern tissue book, children's book, an account slip, really nice thin kind of crispy game piece, some old stained gauze, and some tags from JCPenney's. And then of course I have my Dina Wakley Blue Edition journal, which is new to me, so this will be fun. See what I can do in this. So I'm really glad to be able to play along with Nicole, Erin, and Laura, and anxious to get started and see what we can make happen today in this journal. Thanks for joining me.
So the first thing I noticed, because I really hadn't even opened this at this point, was how gorgeous the watercolor paper is in here. I don't know if you've ever seen Dina Wakley's little watercolor, the white journal, but it's like the same kind of paper. So it's super thick, super absorbent, and lusciously textured. But I realized, I don't know why I hadn't realized this yet, because I'm constantly watching the Mixed Media Menagerie videos that come out by Erin, Laura, and Nicole, and there is a fabric piece. So it's either that burlap or the blue jean material in between every other page is between the watercolor papers is some kind of fabric. And so that means it's either going to be one page of your spread, or you do what I did here today. So anyways, yeah, so that was a little challenging, but I figured out what I wanted to do. And so of course, as usual, I did start with decoupage and got all this vintage ephemera laid down, and that was, a lot of fun. I kind of get carried away when I'm doing decoupage and get lost in it, and that usually takes me some time. So you will see here I did edit that down a little bit and sped it up quite a great deal.
To fall apart, lose myself and give my heart away. Come and go in shady places. I used to sit and stare. Now the light runs through my lashes. It's taken 40 years, blood, sweat, and tears. You are the love I can't Strangers we know become husband.
So here I am tackling the denim, and I wasn't sure if this is what I was going to end up doing, but I wanted to cut it down a bit, but I didn't realize exactly how I was going to do that, or that I was going to put the other piece. So I went in with these old scissors. They're my Craigslist scissors, so I do all the rough stuff with them because they're on their last leg. And I just started really roughing up that edge and getting a whole bunch of fibers. I mean, I got a lot of fibers out of that. That was really cool. And I didn't like how dark that blue was, so I just chose to use the lighter part of the denim, the back side of the denim, as the front. And then so I got that laid down with some of this beacon, this Fabri-Tac, and then decided to go ahead and put the other piece on the other side. So I kind of go here, you'll see me here futzing with this dangly. And then I decided that I was gonna, I liked how it looked on the other side, and I'm gonna cut it down a little bit and get it in there as well. And I'll just treat it exactly the same way I did the other piece. In here, I'm just going in with some gesso and pushing some areas back, softening the edges, kind of bringing it all in cohesively. I used a very heavy hand with the gesso. This is definitely not dry brushing, but I did catch some of that texture. And then I'm going in with a very wet brush and gesso onto the fabric area, because I knew that fabric was going to really soak it up, and I wouldn't get it down deep into the grooves of that denim unless I used a lot of water with that. So I did, and then I came back in with my hands and made it some more stark white areas in contrast to the lighter areas. Now, part of what we had to use was Deli paper. And I had some Deli paper, but I knew that I was going to end up using some of that orange color. I only really have one floral stencil, if you can believe that or not. So I was stuck with, and that was one of the requirements. So I'm gonna have to do something about that and make sure I get some more floral stencils. But this is a TCW Coneflower Stencil, and I pushed some of the light and fluffy through it and then kind of pulled back on the cone part of the flower. And then I went in, and you're going to see up in the upper right hand corner, there's going to be a link to how I made this homemade glass gel bead medium. And I used that in the cone part of the flower. So that's how I handled that commitment to the floral stencil.
I can show you how to start to find your way. I like the old-fashioned way. Give me that.
And I'm already looking at this at this point in the creation. I was looking at how I had put the Deli, the greeny blue Deli paper at the bottom across the denim, and I really felt like that was just boxing it in somehow, but I decided to just leave it alone for now and readdress it later if I still felt that way. For some reason, the denim almost felt like it flowed through the page, and that area just blocked it off. And so I will say that even at this point, I was like, there's something wrong there. So when you have excess texture, don't let it go to waste. Just slap her on. And so she did.
Old-fashioned way. Give me that sweet love, those warm up and kisses. Oh.
All right, so here's my fluorescent. I am using this fluorescent, actually it's a neon blue, and I decided to go with complementary colors, and the orange and the blue are going to be my colors. So I am just going in with my fingers, of course, with this. It's very translucent neon blue, and just getting that added, and then it was nice because I kept catching that texture, and because of the opaqueness of it, or the translucency of it, it really caught it nicely. It did a lot. So now I'm coming in with the orange. And surprisingly, I was really surprised at how well this ended up looking, because I was very unsure of these colors. It wasn't quite comfortable for me. And now I'm going in with a little bit of gesso, just really light, and just pushing some areas back. When I get an opportunity to catch some of the texture, I am taking advantage of that, of course.
Those warm up and kisses. Oh, you are the love. Life has a quirky way. Circle breaks, we find a new day. And strangers we know become husbands.
So now I'm just going in and making sure to get my stems in, using a little archival ink to do that.
Now you can't save time. Run along, kids. You two will be more than pairs one day. You are the love. I can show you how to start to find your way. I like the old-fashioned way. Give me that sweet love, those warm up and kisses. Oh, you are the love. Sing it. You are the love. I can show you how to start to find your way. I like the old-fashioned way.
So when I had chosen, I guess I can't say I had really chosen to use the Coneflower Stencil because it was my only option. I knew that I was going to be using orange, and I knew that I wanted to use a textural element through the stencil for the flowers. And so I immediately had remembered I had this Azel orange acrylic ink, and I knew that I wanted to use that for the orange petals because I knew it would play really nicely with the texture I had laid down. The other flowers I wasn't as sure about, and so I chose to, as you'll see here in a minute, I chose to go ahead and use acrylic paint, which I mixed myself to get the right color, and then I did add a little bit of water to it to get it a little thinner, so it will kind of move into the crevices and not sit on the surface, because I wanted to come back in with some dry brushing on those purple flower, the purple flower petals, and kind of highlight that texture a little bit more. And it actually worked out very well. I used a very light hand here because I did want it to flow down into the petal or into the texture on the petals, so that the texture would be still raised to catch with my dry brushing. And you'll see how nicely that worked out.
Lose myself and give my heart away. Come and go in shady places. I used to sit and stare. Now the light runs through my lashes. It's taken 40 years, blood, sweat, and tears.
All right, so now I am going to use my Fineliner, which is full of airbrush medium and burnt umber acrylic paint and some water to do the cone area. And because of those glass beads and catching them earlier with some of the gesso that I had put down, I'm getting these really lovely seed-like formations on them, and it worked out really nicely. I was very pleased with that. So now I'm going to put down this gauze. It's very vintagey. I don't know that it was actually, I don't think it was tea stain. I think it's just old, and that is what gives it that yellow kind of ancient look to it, antique kind of look. But I kind of thought of it more like a moss or ground covering, and you know, this is of course abstract, but that's the general feeling I was getting. And it was about this time I was like, okay, yeah, I really got to do something about that paper I had decoupaged down over the denim.
Sweet love, those warm open kisses. Oh, you are the,
A little dry brush over the gauze to catch the texture.
you are the love. I can show you how to start to find your way. I like the old-fashioned way. Give me that sweet love, those warm open kisses. Oh, you are the love. You are the love. I can show you how to start to find your way.
Here I'm just using some Titan Buff, more of a neutral color, just to kind of define some areas. I'm not really doing any dry brushing, but I am using this very lightly.
I can show you how to start to find your way. I like the old-fashioned way.
And now that I've got everything good and dry, I am going to now go back in with this Fineliner and try and catch as much of that texture as I can by just giving it real thin and letting it flow into those textural areas. And you'll see I just add some, smooth it back, add some more, add some water, pull it off, it's just kind of a fine dance till you get it to where it, what I feel for me, it's till it represents the texture that's on the page. And like here, I'm just going in and highlighting some of the areas that didn't get caught. But now that it's good and wet, it's easier to do that. I have my hair dryer on it to help solidify it more as I go. I wasn't really sure if I was going to use words on this layout, but then I remembered I really had committed myself to using these ephemera pieces, and I wanted to use that game piece. And then it was kind of funny because of the saying on the game piece was more like a sentiment almost, and it had relevance because there's some rabbits that appear in my page, and so it kind of fit. So I layered it up with some of the other items I had used and created a little text area, a little bit that I ended up putting on this page once I finally made a decision where. If you've liked what you've seen, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, go ahead and click on the subscribe button if you haven't already. Listed below in my description box is all the supplies that I've used on this piece. Links are listed to my Etsy store or an affiliate link, but I only link to products that I've used, tested, or that I prefer to use. I may receive a small compensation, but there is never any additional cost to you. By using these links, you help me put supplies on my art table and keep my channel content coming. Thank you so much for watching.